Kansas City at Buffalo. The line right now is 2.5. It's been all over the place. It was at 3 for about 30 seconds, 2.5, got down to 2. Now it's back up to 2.5. It's trending back towards 3, which means...
I'm going to make the Bills my Simon Says, Chad. As the least confident as I can sound. But I have to do it. I can't believe I'm doing it. And like even now, I just had a buddy text me and he's just like, another pro, and he's just like, do not take the Bills. I have to do it. You knew me too well, but it's just I just love this Bills team. And I love this spot, and like the fear for me right now is what injuries happen, right? Because they're playing, again, it's a joke, the NFL. They have him outside playing a game on concrete. Like that field was concrete. Yeah. Anytime someone got tackled, they would get up and they looked like they were in such pain. Yeah. And someone's like, why do they all look hurt after they get tackled? It's like they're literally being tackled on the concrete.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So obviously I get the pushback on the Bills, but before we went on, Chad, I told you my big thing is I don't think people are understanding this Chiefs team just isn't right? People are getting sucked back in on this Chiefs team, and I'm not buying it. Like, they scored 2 touchdowns and then struggled in the red zone against the Miami team. Miami gifted them that whole game, right? Like, they could not do a single thing on offense. They had a ton of injuries to their defense, so the Chiefs could move the ball any way they wanted up and down the field, and people are back in. Everyone's like, well, it's the playoffs, right? Mahomes is back. This is the team. This is them back in the playoffs, and it's just, I can't get there. So I think the public will be on this side, and I know a couple pros are, where it's like, I can see it being the same thing with the Rams, that we're going to look in the app and it's going to be a lot of money skewed towards the Bills. If they make this +3, that will change. Like, so much money will come in on this Chiefs team at +3 because, I mean, we know all the stats. Mahomes is a dog. I think Evan talked about it. He's like 8-1 in his last 9 as an underdog.
Yeah. It's amazing you remember that, because I needed all the stats written down. So kudos to you. But
no, because that one sticks with me, where it's like, me and you love betting Mahomes as a dog, and it pains me not to do it here. But this number should be 3.5, 4. Like, maybe because of the Bills' injuries to defense, this number would start making more sense to me, where it's like, okay, this should be under a 3, 2.5. But me and you have been riding this Bills team now for months, and we keep talking about they've been in these playoff games for months. They've made huge changes to their offense, which obviously benefit them, and then bringing in Rasul Douglas totally changed the identity of that second half, where like their secondary was easy to be passed on. He came in there, started getting turnovers, just picks. He was able to add to their run-stopping game, too. Like, he is incredible at tackling.
He's very physical.
Yes. So all these little things that Bills did really changed my perception, where the Chiefs have done none of that. I mean, go through just what they've done. Even in December, right? We always talk, you never fade Mahomes in November, December. This year, we were fading him all November, all December. Yeah. And I think people are overreacting too much to this one game. Go watch that tape, people. All those field goals, like, they're not the same team in the red zone. There's no imagination there in the red zone. Like, that first drive was vintage Mahomes and the Chiefs, right? They drove right down the field. He was making the perfect passes. I think Rice was wide open, right? It was like an underneath play where the linebackers dropped back. There was no one to the right. He just walked right in. That was vintage. The rest of the game, it was not like that. Like, it's just not there. Even the drops, too, kept showing up, right? Even Kelsey having multiple drops. It's like, this is just not the same team. So if the Bills, if this game had been closer and they had struggled, and it was just like, okay, this Josh Allen can't stop turning the ball over, can't stop making stupid plays. I think he played really smart in that Pittsburgh game. He pulled it down, ran it when he needed to. They handed it off, and like the run blocking scheme as well has looked so much better. It's just all there. And then you factor in as well, Mahomes has never played a road playoff game. So this is a big deal, right? He's going to Buffalo, where we talk all the time. That's a hard place to play. Like, ain't no telling people to be quiet while he does his snap count. It's going to be loud and rowdy. So we're getting under 2.5. Come on, join me. Take this number. I know it's scary going against Mahomes, but at 3.5, Mahomes makes sense. At 2.5, it feels like the Bills is the play here.
So let me throw some water.
Do it.
On your very hot take. You mentioned Patrick Mahomes, 8-1-1.
Yeah.
In those 10 career games, including the postseason, in which he has been an underdog, 8-1-1. He's 6-3 straight up. 7-1 against the spread in those 9 regular season games. 1-0 straight up and against the spread as an underdog in the playoffs. That was last year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, they used to be a good team, the Chiefs.
I'm not discounting that. His record is actually better away from home. 39-11 straight up on the road, 35-11 at home. He's more profitable against the spread as the visitor, going 28-20-2 on the road in neutral games, 20-25-1 at Arrowhead. And that makes sense, right? Like, on the road, the numbers are going to be a little bit less inflated. They're always going to be super high at Arrowhead. The market has never caught up to the fact that they play a more conservative game at Arrowhead. They score fewer points at Arrowhead. They just assume at home Patrick Mahomes going to tee off. So that makes sense. And look, I agree with you. We have loved the Bills all week. We have loved the Bills all month. I felt like going to the playoffs, they might have been the best team in the AFC for sure. Maybe the best team in the NFL with the way Joe Brady has changed that offense and Josh Allen. He had a lot of picks, but it's much more running focus. And we've talked a lot about how teams and their time of possession against the Bills has decreased. You mentioned Rasul Douglas. Didn't play against the Steelers, was inactive. Knee injury. We don't know if he'll play this weekend. They lost more linebackers and more DBs playing on that turf last night.
I know.
Stephon Diggs looked like every time he went to the ground, like something was breaking. And the Steelers on Monday, when they started to make a game of it, was when those players went out and all of a sudden they had so many more opportunities in the middle of the field. I know Travis Kelce isn't having a great year, but that is how they can beat the Bills. That is their strength against a Bills' weakness.
Yeah, and just throw water on. I love you and I love all the stats you gave. Those are with Tyreek Hill and the Blenheim. Like the OC that's no longer there. And we just talked about their struggles this season. But I mean, anyone can open up the app and go through their games this year, and it's just the offense just has not been there. Even when you go down the home stretch here, we bet against them with the Bills. The Bills went to the Chiefs and they beat them 2017 in the regular season.
Yeah.
And it's just like I can't overreact to what the Chiefs just did last week, where I get the pushback and I get all these stats, and I really did want to be on the Chiefs, but it's just they're just not the same team. And I think people still haven't come to full terms with that just because they did win their division and they did just blow out a team in the playoffs. It feels like it's all the same, but it's not. And that's like my biggest issue. So Chad's right about the injuries. Like, it's terrifying, the injuries the Bills have had to their defense, but they're that magical team. And like we keep talking about, like the fact that everyone was out on them, everyone doubted them, that you could have got them at 50-1 to win the Super Bowl in December. That's just like why I love this team. Like, that's the year that teams make runs and win Super Bowls, when no one believes them and everyone counts them out, and they make these crazy runs. And they're just on a crazy run right now. So every counterpoint you've said is so fair. I'm just trusting the number. The fact that the number is under 3, 3.5, I get the Chiefs love, but at 2.5, it's just like, that's such a big deal that number's under it. Especially when we know, like, we're looking at the schedule. The fact that Buffalo went there and won 20-17, and I know people are going to push back and be like, well, that was the no call, or I think they got dropped a touchdown, but they could have beat the Bills, where it's like, you can say that with any game. Like, there's always going to be calls. I mean, we didn't talk about the Lions game yet, but like, there's always going to be calls and non-calls that determine a lot of these games. But just the way the Bills have played, the fact that this is such a revenge spot, right? Like, Mahomes and Josh Allen, they play cute and like they're good friends. Allen has been sitting on that loss.
Oh, yeah.
To Mahomes from 2-3 years ago for this whole time. And like it's poetic justice. Like, you win this game, you somehow go and beat the Ravens, and that's how you make the Super Bowl run. Like, it just feels like whenever you look at the NFL history and how it all lines up, where these guys had to conquer these. I mean, Michael Jordan, your favorite guy, he had to overtake the Detroit Piston team. He had to hit the gym, get jacked for 3 years to get big and strong enough to overtake that team. That's what it feels like here with the Bills, where it's like the Chiefs have been that stopper for them. It's the reason they never got to the Super Bowl in this whole Josh Allen era. And now it's finally lined up. They got a bad Chiefs team at home. First time Mahomes has ever been on the road in this kind of scenario. It just feels really lined up. So I'm trying hard to convince people on this, guy. I know how hard it is to take them, but I'm telling you, take the 2.5. Don't be scared off by this number. Take the Bills here.
Last night, even Josh Allen said, he said this as a compliment, A.J. Klein came off the street to play great. A.J. Klein might be starting in the middle
Yeah.
for the Bills in this game, which means it's going to be A.J. Klein trying to read Patrick Mahomes. Like, I want to be on the Bills so bad in this game. I do think Josh Allen looks amazing. And I think Patrick Mahomes, you have mentioned many times on this show this year that Mahomes
Remember that Vegas game? Just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
I do.
Yes.
I totally do. And you've mentioned many times this year, like,
They're broken.
Mahomes, this is not the right team, and that
No.
Mahomes has been really whiny all season long. You've totally said that. And I think Josh Allen looked amazing last night. And I thought, like, he played within himself, right? You know how when you're a great athlete and you sort of, it's like you're a wild horse, right? You need to be broken a little bit.
I needed to see that, though, because he did struggle against Miami. Like, he did not play great in that Miami game.
No, but last night,
Yeah, that's what I mean. I needed to see him have a great game.
he had a
did.
great
Yeah.
game, made the right calls. He felt like an adult. Do you know what I mean? And like, you don't always see that. You don't, like,
Yeah.
Josh Allen, you see him making boneheaded plays that are kind of plays when you think,
He
I'm the
just
best
sits on the sideline
athlete.
with his mouth open,
Yeah,
like, looking to
like,
the sky.
I'm the best athlete. I
Yeah.
can do anything. And like last night, he didn't try to do that.
No.
He tried to play with control.
He took what the defense gave him.
So I can, if they can play with control, I can see it. I feel a little guilty because you decided to be my betting buddy on Green Bay and on the Niners, and I'm having a harder time being your betting buddy on the
I
Bills.
totally get it, though, dude. I want to bet Mahomes is the dog, too. I like betting dogs.
Great note from Owen in here. Chiefs, from Owen, Evan. Chiefs have scored 10 total points in the first quarter of the last 5 games versus the Bills, meaning if we like the Chiefs, we're going to get a better number live.
Okay.
So there you go.